So maybe that's just what the goal is, and maybe that's just you trying to be naughty. Maybe you're in a car. That's my favorite place to give a hand job. It's the most distracting, and I want to see how, but actually that's terrible advice. Don't do it in moving cars because you can cause accidents, ladies. Driving safe is of utmost importance, but sometimes it's fun to spice things up. Hey Yoni tribe, welcome to another tribal session. Today I'm going to be talking about how to give a great hand job. Hit the subscribe button, also hit the notifications bell so the next episode you are first to find out about. Now let's get into it. Penises look different. They have different tastes. Some are girthier than others, some are longer than others, but they are all beautiful. Some are circumcised and some are not circumcised. So some have a foreskin. It's an additional skin that is attached to the shaft of the penis, but it actually covers the tip, which is basically the most sensitive part of the penis. So I don't want this to be something that deters you from giving a good hand job. When I think of giving hand jobs, or rather when I am giving hand jobs, I always like to be like, is this something he would do to himself? Is this the pace that he would go at? If it does have the foreskin, use it to your advantage. Because the tip is the most sensitive part of the actual penis itself, you can use that to play with the tip and pull it all the way down to the bottom of the shaft. Don't let it deter you. They're still going to have the sensation. It feels just as good on a penis with a foreskin even versus without. So don't let that be something that stops you from wanting to do so. Next thing that I want to go on to, and as you saw I was doing the hand motion, is grip. Now when you are holding onto a penis, you have to realize that it has like 44,000 nerve endings. You can either choke it or you can stroke it. And when stroking, it's obviously being more sensitive and attentive to still holding firm, because remember it is a muscle, but also being very gentle to know that you shouldn't hurt it because it's a sensitive muscle. When you are holding on, if you feel like it's too tight and you're using too much pressure, it probably is too much pressure. Let's talk about motion. The motion in which you use can speak on the pace, because it can get uncomfortable. Like, let's be realistic, even for men. Like, unless you are a pro, what's the word? A pro masturbator. Like, your hand can also get sore if you do it too much. But you have to switch up techniques and you have to know what works best for your hand. And the same applies for when you're doing it to your partner. Can be up and down in different ways, but mostly think of the motion, the pace that you're using to entice. And I would say vary it. You can go faster when you can see that they're getting into it. You can slow it down to kind of tease them, because that will add to the suspense and the enjoyment. Okay, so next up is obviously the duration of time. So what is the best amount of time to be giving a hand job? And like I said, you can sometimes get bored, and I'm sure if you're getting bored, your man's getting bored, which means you shouldn't actually be doing it. I wouldn't recommend a really long time. I think that it's part of foreplay that you can kind of use to initiate something more. So I think that it's just kind of like a starter, and not even a starter, a snack. The duration of time obviously is dependent on how comfortable you are. So I always recommend getting into a comfortable position. If that means it's on your knees, then get on your knees and face it. If it means that it's lying down on the couch or the bed whilst you are lying next to your partner, then do that. If it means getting on top of them whilst you're on the bed and being able to do that, remember you cannot lean on the penis for support. So I think it also depends on how long you spend with that particular person, because then you get to know their body language, which is another important factor. Body language. Always make sure that you're not only listening out for moans, but make sure that you can, you know, see their toes curling, see their backs arching, see their hands moving to gesture you in certain ways. Please do not, like, you know, take your hand in mine and then, like, you know, because that is kind of aggressive and it's not necessarily the best way to teach. So if you want to, gentlemen, kind of guide your partner into the right direction, softly hold their hand so that you can go into the motion that you know you prefer. Obviously, you guys are probably wondering, why has she not mentioned lubrication? I kind of wanted to, keep it to myself a bit, but obviously you know how important lubrication is in any sense of the word, whether it comes to your vagina, whether it comes to your anus, whether it comes to your mouth, whether it comes to your hands. But anything that requires lubrication will obviously mean more enjoyment. You can obviously use your saliva, but listen, if you've been smoking something and you are dehydrated, I don't know why you would be dehydrated, because ladies, gents, you need to guzzle on that water. You can use your saliva, but I wouldn't really recommend it, and that can get things started. Actual lube, cool, perfect, yeah, because that means it's on hand. But one thing I would suggest is having a small container of coconut oil. Coconut oil is a really, really great way to have in your handbag, to have in your pocket, because it can also be used as a moisturizer. So it's not necessarily like singled out for women, but if you have just a small tube of coconut oil, that can be used as a really great lubricant, and it's also antibacterial, so it means you're not trying to catch nothing using coconut oil. Who would have thought coconut oil can be used for so many different things? Now, technique is a big important factor, because I think that's everything. If your technique is off, you can tick every other box and it just still will not feel like you have actually achieved anything. There's different ones that you can try out and see what they react to positively, and then do more of that. So the first one is fist and twist. So when you obviously think of a fist, like, hey, so it's holding the penis in a fist-like position and then twisting up as you go kind of around the muscle itself. Second option that you could try is focuses more not so much on the shaft itself, but on the actual head of the penis, and it's like tip sensation, and it's called the half twist. So that's like kind of like, you know, when you're opening up a tap, that's like, you're not doing it like this, but imagine twisting your wrist and doing this if you are extra lubricated, like, you know, when you're rolling bap or you're rolling fufu, or you don't even know what the actual different ugali, I can't think of all the different things that you could the different countries that like actually know, but out of maize, and you're rolling it in your hand to make a ball, or even meatballs. Yeah, when you're making meatballs, you know, if you're using one hand, and yeah, you're just giving the tip some extra sensation. The last one is called the bouncing octopus. So you know, something that's bouncing. And an octopus has like testicles. Huh? So is it testicles? Tentacles. They like, it looks like it's zorbing, and like, so as their legs, let's call it legs because that's the safest thing to call it, are like stroking up and down, imagine them stroking up the penis. So you're kind of like moving the sensation from the bottom up, and it's like ticklish as you get to the top, but you're still taking care of the whole penis itself. So that is called the. And now obviously when you're doing this, you're feeling like, I'm inside, I've got this going on. Make sure that you look him dead in the eye. Eye contact shows that you are into it. It shows that you're present. It shows that you're trying to be aware of what your partner's feeling and doing, and it adds to the intensity. Another way to kind of switch things up is to add toys, things that stimulate especially or heighten different senses. So I would recommend like penis rings, because that can vibrate, it can add a different sensation to the penis itself, and it'll also make it more fun for you because you're feeling kind of something different in your hand as opposed to aching your muscle with another muscle. So this can also be in the form of things that can restrict you from coming at a time, because that can also be sometimes something that is a turn on when you're about to come, or you feel like you're coming and then it gets stopped and you're just like, but I want to come so bad, because when you eventually do, it just, the relief is that much more greater. And speaking of coming, where do you come? Like, we pick up so many different things and touch so many different things every day that is so bad for us. A little bit of ejaculation in your hand and actually going to wash your hands is not a big deal. Then there's some people who like to take it to the next level, and they like to actually finish in your mouth. So some people are okay with the mouth, some people like it. who those people are. So I spoke to someone who actually came to me concerned that they weren't sure that they were doing their hand job correctly because their partner always just says, no, it's fine, I'd rather do it for myself. And I said, I don't think you should necessarily take offense, because sometimes when you are thinking of your ultimate peak in terms of pleasure, sometimes it's just easier to get things done for yourself because you know exactly how to get there. And if you're at a point where maybe ejaculation or coming or orgasms is what you like are needing in that moment, you don't necessarily want to still have to go the teaching route or the guiding route in order to get there. And last but not least, the cleanup. You know, if it's in hand, you obviously just go to the bathroom, you wash your hands. If it's on her back, if it's on her tummy, if it's on her face, if it is on her chest, if it is in her mouth, it is on you, gentlemen. I cannot be having cum on my face and still be expected to navigate to the bathroom to go and clean my own face. You get me that tissue, you get me that washcloth, you get me that towel, you get me that wet wipe. Ladies, don't use wet wipes on your face. You use whatever it is that is going to be good for you to make sure that you are able to clean. You get it. As the person who's enjoyed, as a person who's finished. If you're until you're done, if you're finished and you're satisfied, it's your turn to work now. I've been working. You see, my hands are crippled. So, I hope you all got some information or just different things that you can look out for. Again, I am not a medical practitioner. I am just somebody who likes to do sexual things and talk about it. So if you get something from that, hit the subscribe button and tell a friend to tell a friend so that they can come and subscribe so I can get to my goal of 25K. We're getting there. Yeah, see you on the next episode. Bye, Yoni tribe.